Open Your Eyes is brought to you by the Belize Bank, our country, your bank, and Smart, bringing people together. Good morning and welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Start your morning right.
I'm Paul Lopez.
And I am Isana Cayetano. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning, Brother Paul.
Yes, so we have some topics to jump into this morning.
We have 5 wonderful topics for our viewers this morning, beginning with a reflection on the global conflict. And we're going to be looking at that from a Belizean perspective. That's our first conversation. That's going to be followed by our friends from FULTEC right next door. They're going to be joining us as they celebrate 33 years of customers and community. Then I'll have a one-on-one with Wayne Moody as he returns home to inspire change. That's what I'm looking forward to. We're also going to be discussing new products from Kent. All right, that's a conversation where we're also going to be showcasing, Paul, various products from this particular brand. And last but not least, we will be joined by Bella Zabane. Of course, she took the stage on Friday and won major. And so she's going to be with us as Miss Universe Belize. That's our 5 topics for this morning.
Excellent stuff, Isani. A lot of great conversations to look forward to. And I also know that there's a lot happening outside of the morning show discussion, just in news in general. There's a lot going on. And there isn't necessarily a discussion or an extensive discussion to be had on any of it. But I find it interesting in part that it seems as if we are coming to an end of the dispute, if you would, between the joint unions and the government of Belize.
Yeah.
It's worth highlighting and noting because it's one of those topics that we have been discussing on set for the better part of the last month and a half to 2 months. There's varying views on this at this point. People are beginning to take sides, and I don't know how well that bodes for the movement going forward in
when
terms
you say
of
people are beginning to take
I
sides.
mean members,
Okay.
right? I mean members from the Public Service Union, and because while
So let's paint a broad picture perhaps.
Okay.
And then we can zoom into specific areas of it all. So I did an interview yesterday with Dean Flowers. He's the president of the Public Service Union. We all know this, right? And we were discussing the vote that was taken by the PSU membership on Sunday. Now, Sunday was an interesting day because that's essentially when the 21 days would have expired.
Correct.
And so it was critical for them to come up with a position or a decision at that particular point. Nonetheless, they voted overwhelmingly in favor of the 4.5% increase and the breakdown that comes along with it. And in my conversation with Mr. Flowers, he was saying, okay, by extension, the APSSM is in alignment with the decision or the position that the broader membership of the PSU has taken.
Is it because they are public servants as well?
Yeah. So essentially, it's 2 out of the 3 respective bodies that have gone in one particular direction. Now, the teachers form 1/3 of the joint union negotiating body.
There's that Matt now,
Right.
that's where we're going.
But the teachers have proven to be more fiery and staunch in their position.
Long time.
Right? And so it makes, from my point of view, for an interesting dynamic. Because if the teachers vote amongst themselves, because that will also go to the floor for them to vote on, And if they say, well, we don't want that 4.5%, we want the 8.5% that we're demanding this time around, as opposed to broken down in segments or pieces, then where do they go? Because on one hand, you could argue that they are outnumbered, right, based on a 2/3 majority, but on the other hand, they are a tour de force, so to speak. So that's how I'm looking at it. It's not to say that that's how it will go down. I'm simply putting that big picture there on the table.
No, well, what's interesting, just to add a tad bit there, is that the teachers, if you remember, they were the ones that were leading this movement, most recent one, with numbers, being vocal out there.
And that's what I'm saying.
Being out present. They were clearly a force, while the Public Service Union and its membership in some circles were being criticized as bandwagonist, if you would. They're union members, and they're a part of a union, so they have a place in this, and I'm not discrediting that. I'm just saying what some people were saying. Then they jump on this bandwagon, and we know they're not that vocal, and we know they prefer to sit down in the office and not bring out their voice. So let me just say that it's interesting now that while the teachers took the lead on this, when a decision almost seems in its finality here to kind of bring things back a bit, it's the Public Service Union that's now taking the lead where the decision making is concerned. And the teachers have a position to take
I beg to defer,
but it's the Public Service Union that's taking the lead.
I wouldn't say they're taking the lead.
They're the first out the gate.
First out the gate, fair enough.
Correct.
But
setting the tone even.
Again, I wouldn't go that far.
Okay.
I simply say that because at the end of the day, these respective unions need to go back, these respective union leaders, those on the joint, have to go back to their membership. And in a democratic process, it's the membership that determines the final position, right? So while, yes, based on the 21-day timeline that the PSU had, they had to come up with a decision by Sunday. The teachers at this point are not bound to a timeline per se. But it does not mean that because you're the first out the gate, you're setting a particular tone.
No, certainly not.
I don't necessarily agree with that.
There's pressures, there's influences, there's perspectives.
So now to go back,
you have to look at
back
all
to
of
what
that.
you were saying initially in terms of the so-called criticism of the PSU, right? At the end of the day, all three of these unions and those who form essential services who stand to benefit from the ultimate decision, you can't say they're bandwagoners because police officers are in the same shoe, right? But they can't decide that they will walk out and join the protest. They can't. So they're silent, but they stand to be affected by whatever is being put on the table, right? In as much the same way that, yes, public officers would want to come out and demonstrate, but they have to follow a particular rule or regulation, if I may, as opposed to teachers who may not necessarily be bound by that, right? That, again, that's the perspective that I have on it. It's going to be interesting to see where it goes from here, but certainly we will be following closely. But I just want to jump into something quickly before we continue with the rest of our show. It's been an interesting weekend where the Belize Police Department is concerned because you have officers in the north and officers in Key Carker who were either victims of vicious stabbings or perpetrated violence with knives, right? And so we look at what's taking place in Key Carker with that entire ruckus that happened in the early hours of yesterday. And the fact that it has left a 19-year-old dead and several other men injured from knife wounds, right? Stab wounds and what have you. I was looking at the one picture that stood out to me. I'm not sure if you saw it. where one of the individuals has a large laceration across the throat, right?
Yeah.
And your throat is one of the most delicate parts of your body. When you cut your throat, there's your jugular vein and all of those other things, right?
Risk.
Anyway, I'm looking at that and I'm saying to myself, the police department is in a very, very precarious situation with this one, because the officers are claiming self-defense, right? But then that's on one hand. On the other hand, the officers who are in Orange Walk at the gym, that establishment, they were working extra hours, duty, security, and they came under attack by patrons who wanted to get into the establishment. And in both instances, knives were the weapons of choice, and these men were severely injured.
Yeah.
Now, we spoke with the Commissioner of Police briefly yesterday, not necessarily regarding the incident in Orange Walk, but more so the one in Key Cocker. And while he has committed to a thorough investigation that will include the Professional Standards Branch, it will be interesting to see how this shapes up, because the family of the deceased has already put forward a position that they will take legal action and they will pursue legal action. There are a lot of questions, way more questions than answers at this point. And I leave the conversation at this, Paul. There's the allegation that it's the officers who are the ones with the knives or the knife, right? So then the question that was being asked is, so how do they come in possession, and are they allowed to be able to have a pocket knife or any form of edged instrument, right? They were off duty. That's one of the questions that's being asked.
Yeah, I find it interesting that it hasn't been declared a murder, because that it's a death investigation, which shows that all the pieces are still being put together, and so it's one we'll continue to watch closely. Interesting things happening around the Sisani, and discussions definitely worth having. I will say though that we have an online giveaway to start the morning, and so this one is for tickets to the Belize City Thunderbolts game that's coming up this Thursday, right? And so we have 5 tickets to give away, and it's for the first 5 people to post themselves at the June 21st Belize City Thunderbolts game. So this game has passed if you are there, and if you took a picture of the game or took a picture of yourself at the game, you can go on down to Instagram. This is Instagram, and tag Belize City Thunderbolts and open your eyes on your Insta stories to win a pair of general tickets for the upcoming game this Thursday. I hope that the instructions are clear enough and that you can take advantage of these giveaway. 5 tickets, well 10 in essence, to fans who go on Instagram and post their picture at the June 21st game, tag Belize City Thunderbolts and OYE Belize. But with that, we do have our weather update to jump into. We want to know what the weather is going to be like this morning. I know a lot of people have their eyes on the weather, and so let's get right into our weather update. Excellent. So here we have it. This is our today's forecast. It's going to be cloudy at times with a few showers and isolated thunderstorms occurring around the country. Today, activities will gradually become isolated by this evening, then redevelop over the south tonight. So it seems that we're going to have rains in different parts of the country based on that forecast. Today's temperatures along the coast is going to be 88 degrees Fahrenheit on the higher end, end and 80 degrees Fahrenheit on the lower end. Inland, we're going to have 94 degrees Fahrenheit on the higher end. That seems like a bit of heat. And on the lower end, you're going to get a 72 degrees Fahrenheit temperature. In the hills, it's a bit more cooler with 80 degrees Fahrenheit on the higher end and 68 degrees Fahrenheit on the lower end. Let's look at our extended forecast to get an idea of what's going to take place throughout the rest of the week. And so we go all the way up to Saturday with this one, and Wednesday 89 degrees, which is a decrease in temperature, that's inland, and then 94 up in the hills. On Thursday, 89 degrees inland along the coast and 95 degrees up in the hills. Moving to Friday, we have 88 and 93 degrees respectively. And then Saturday, things, it seems as if it's going to be a bit cooler, but also still we're going to get some sunshine, 88 degrees and 88 degrees respectively. Now, our astronomical forecast, at sunrise, the sun rose this morning at 4:22 a.m. It woke up with a lot of us early birds, and then it sets later on today at 6:31 p.m. For our moonrise, the moon is going to rise at 11:04 a.m. right up there with the sun, and then it's going to set at 11:20 p.m. So about 12 hours of moonlight, if you would. And in our marine conditions, the sea state is going to be moderate today. The winds will blow from east so we're going to get some easterly winds at 10 to 20 knots. Tides, today's low tide begins at 8:39. We have a couple more hours before that. Today's high is at 2:15 p.m. so that's afternoon, after lunch later on. Today's another low at 9:09 p.m. that's later on tonight. And then tomorrow we have an early morning high at 3:09 a.m. And that does it for our eye on the weather. We do hope that you enjoy the weather today, and that you find yourself either cool or just remaining hydrated throughout the course of today. Back to you, Isani.
Excellent, Paul. Guys, when we return, we're going to kick off our first conversation, and that's reflecting on global conflict from a Belizean perspective. It's a conversation you don't want to miss. Stick around.
Palma. I'm the owner of CRK Services, and I've been operating this business for 7 years in Big Falls, Toledo District. I use the Belize Bank online services because it's quite fast, reliable, and easy. Before I started to use the Belize Bank online services, I had to make a lot of trips into town, which cost me a lot, especially fuel. So the fact that I have to use my credit card every day, I can do an online instant payment and make my life easy. My customers can do payments towards me and it reaches in instant. It's fast, it's convenient for my business. I don't have to be up and down. I can do it anywhere I want. I would recommend you using the Belize Bank online services because for you, it will save you a lot of time.
Are you ready for KTV The Remix Season 7? The stage is set, the lights are on, and the voices are coming back stronger than ever. KTV The Remix Season 7 returns on July 1st, and it's going to be bigger, bolder, and more electrifying. New voices, new talent, same iconic showdown. Who will rise? Who will remix? Who will rule the stage? Tuesday, July 1st. The comeback begins! KTV, The Remix Season 7, where talent takes the mic.
This is where blue innovation meets green ambition and orange creativity thrives. Join us for the Belize Investment Summit 2025, September 3rd to 5th at the Sunset Carib in San Pedro. This is the future of regional integration, And it starts here. Whether you're returning home, expanding regionally, or entering new markets, Belize welcomes you. Why Belize? Why now? Belize Investment Summit 2025. Bridging markets, building resilience. September 3rd to 5th, Sunset Caribbean, San Pedro. Visit investmentsummit.bz to register and be part of shaping the investment frontier.
Hi there. Are you on your phone right now, scrolling on social media, listening to the radio, or watching TV? Have you ever stopped to think, what's powering my device right now? You see, electricity is essential for everyday life, powering our homes, businesses, transportation, and of course, that one binge-worthy series that you just can't stop watching. But how does it all work? This season on the What's and Why's of Energy, we're taking you behind the scenes, bringing you the latest updates and answers to your biggest energy questions. My name is Emmanuel Petch, and I invite you to join us as we go live on Facebook and get ready to see energy in a whole new light. Like, share, and follow us to be part of the conversation.
Belize Electricity Limited, providing you safe and reliable power when you need it.
And welcome back. Our first conversation this morning is with returning guest Asad Shuman in his capacity as a historian. He's joined as well by activist and historian Alana Rosado. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We're off on quite an interesting conversation to kick off our show today. And it has to do with what's taking place across the world, specifically in the Middle East. Mr. Shuman, you were here a week or so ago having a similar, if not this very same conversation with our hosts. But I want to begin first of all by getting Alana's fresh take on what's taking place here from a younger person's point of view. Alana?
Yes, thank you for allowing us the time to be here. I think that it's really important that Palestine stays in everyone's minds, not just something that we see on the television, but something that we're constantly discussing, something that we are investigating within ourselves. What are we doing? What are we thinking? Because it's something that, believe it or not, though it's maybe across the sea or across an ocean, it affects us. Belize has not just historical ties to Palestine, but if you think about it, you can see yourselves in the people who are suffering there. And it's just something that I fear, especially with the war between Israel and Iran, that people will sort of forget that there's a genocide happening in Gaza.
What sparked your interest in terms of being able to follow this conflict or this developing situation as a Belizean, as a young person at that?
Well, I'm lucky that I grew up in the age of the internet. I think I was 14 the last time, so 2014, when there was aggression on Gaza. And I specifically remember seeing a post and it made me question what sort of culture has been bred in Israel to allow people to do things like have watch parties for bombings. And I remember being so not conflicted. It was actually quite clear to me that, you know, Belize has this long history with colonialism, and this is colonialism happening right in front of our very eyes. And I just thought, how can we stop this? How can we stop this from affecting anyone else? Because it's so clear that it's something that can only lead to more destruction. There is no positive outcome with the way that things are going.
In 2014, you were a student, correct?
Yes.
Okay. You graduated in 2017 and you returned as a teacher in this particular case. Are you a history teacher? Or
No.
You're not a history teacher?
I teach literature and English.
You teach literature, which is not far from history.
No, not at all.
They're cousins, close cousins.
Yes.
I ask you that simply because when we discuss what's taking place with Israel-Iran, with Israel-Palestine, there is what some would describe as the overwhelming influence of Western media in terms of how the narrative is shaped and told, against what others who are following closely would share as a different perspective as to the cause and the reason why there's this ongoing conflict. In your conversations as an activist, how do you share your point of view in the face of what has been put out there from the Western media, which is arguably the most influential source of information and idea shaping that's out there?
You're right. I remember right after October 7th, immediately the talking points are, doesn't Israel have a right to defend itself? Countries don't have rights to defend themselves or to exist. Israel does exist, right? And don't Palestinians have the right to resist apartheid? And so I feel like, honestly, the conversation has shifted despite the best efforts of the Western media, because it is so hard to skew the perspective when we can see firsthand people are dying, people are being dismembered, people are being buried under rubble. There's so much violence, graphic violence that we can see in front of our very own eyes, that you can twist it however you want, that it's a promised land or they have a right or whatever. But I really feel that most people who engage with this conversation in good faith can see that there is a very clear distinction between who is being dehumanized here. And there's also just the human capability of empathizing with people, right? We don't have a quantitative or measurable humanity. There's no way that, you know, I can only sympathize with the people around me. That's not true. I can sympathize with the teachers in Belize who are fighting for their rights, and I can sympathize with Palestinians in Gaza who are trying to survive. And I can see the connection based on global powers, like you said, Western influence. We have a common colonizer, Belize and Palestine. So there's a lot to connect us.
I think your perspectives are interesting as a young person. As young people, in today's day and age, there are certain things. Well, first of all, let me say history continues and is creating itself in today's day and age. Looks a bit different from back then, just because we're interested in things like, for example, going to America, visiting America as one, because we're talking about the West. Studying in the US, because that's where we feel like the better degrees are to an extent. How should young people view or approach this conversation when it seems as if there's a target or a bullseye placed on anyone's back who decides to take a position that is anti-Israeli, if you would. No young person wants to be targeted that way, and do you find that that is kind of drawing young people away from the conversation or taking the perspectives that you have?
Well, I can say that for myself, I've given up on that idea of, going back to the States, maybe get another degree or anything, because I've already sort of seen that it's not the place that I want to be in. They also have their own issues with immigration in general, so that has definitely ramped up people's fears of speaking up. And while I cannot tell anyone else, just give up the idea, or the American ideal is an illusion, but if you still are interested in going to the States, it's not so black and white that people are going to stop you. But I also think you have to wrestle with your own conscience, whether you want to maybe look at another country for your education, or you want to be a little bit more covert with what you do. I know someone who is studying there right now and still supports Palestine, but on their private stories, right? Because it's hard to be silent when it actually does affect you emotionally.
But it's hard to speak out when there's a microscope on these platforms.
Yeah, that's true. You just have to make a choice, I suppose.
Let me get us in on the conversation at this point. And I know, as a historian, you have the entire timeline between Israel and Palestine down pat, perhaps from the first Intifada all the way to where we are today. But I just want to focus on a snapshot, which would take us back to 2023, October, where you had the members of Hamas who essentially invaded Israel, which created this fresh round of conflict. If we're looking at that particular picture, and this is in line with the conversation that we're having with Alana, it would be at a time where young people will be able to reflect on that as opposed to things that were happening all the way back in the 40s, 50s, etc. So we're looking at October 2023, fresh round of conflict. What is your perspective? And I'm trying to get as objective a position from you, even though I understand your history and your ancestry and what have you. What is your perspective on what is taking place there? If one says tit for tat, you have lives lost on one end, you have lives lost on the other end. It may not be equal in terms of the use of force and what have you. What is your position on that?
Well, you're talking about Gaza, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So what is Gaza? Gaza is a small strip of land which is part of Palestine, which is a strip that was left out of an invasion that took place, or a takeover of the territory by Europeans, white people who came from all over Europe because they were being persecuted there. They couldn't be free there. They were being, attacked, persecuted, and so on. And they went to Palestine, pushed on by the United Kingdom and other, and especially after the Holocaust in Germany, right? So everybody said, well, yeah, people have to have that escape. But that escape came at the cost of the natives who were there, right? Who were expelled. In the case of Gaza now, 80% of the population of Gaza is made up of people from the parts that you say they invaded. That is their home. That is where they live. That is where, for hundreds of years, their families were. They were driven out of that into this strip. And that strip was put under siege for like 15 years. where Israel controlled everything, what went in and what didn't. And they were kept at the verge of existence. And every now and again, Israel will come in and what they call mow the lawn, meaning bomb, kill. I don't know, she spoke about 2014, I guess that was one of the times when one of the operations, they call it, Operation Edge, this and all kind of name they put on it, right? So these people were in a concentration camp. Now when I say concentration camp, we think about what?
Auschwitz, Germany.
We talk about Germany, right? And the Jews being kept in concentration camps. So how you mean concentration? Well, look, scholars, Jewish scholars, genocide, Holocaust scholars have said that is a concentration camp. That's the biggest concentration camp we've ever seen. People compare it, what is happening to the Palestinians, to what the Germans did to the Jews. When I say people, I mean Jews. For example, there's a person called Norman Finkelstein. Have you heard of him? He's on different podcasts. He's interviewed. He's a big professor in the United States. Both his parents were in concentration camps, managed to survive, escape. He said he would feel like he's betraying his parents if he didn't come out and say, this is the same thing. And he asked, were the Nazis worse or are these people worse?
So in your
and
case,
he answers, at least the Nazis did it in a sort of scientific way. They wanted to exterminate the Jews. And they did it like with grim faces, you know. What are you seeing now, the Israelis? They're laughing. They're putting up videos of bombing hospitals, killing children, sniping children in the head, and laughing about it. And
in your mind,
what is this?
Is it a quintessential case of the oppressed becoming the oppressor?
That happens. That happens. But this is an extreme, so extreme a case that everybody's, I mean, people have lost their ability to describe it. They say we're at a loss for words.
Is the extremity perhaps a contributing factor to that? The world we live in now where everything is on social media. Videos are right before our eyes. At the click of a button, we could read articles that are written moments after something happens. How has that perhaps changed the landscape and even the discussion? Because whereas way back you wouldn't have had all of that at your fingertips, now it's right there. Would you say, Alana, that has contributed to informing more people, or perhaps has it made us more ignorant or blind in our perspectives?
Yeah, I definitely think that constant viewing of things like this can make you a little bit desensitized. However, I also think that it has been really good for understanding what is going on. I know that a lot of people have misconceptions because of propaganda. And so the way that we disseminate information now helps to fight that, because the most powerful weapon that we have is the truth. And so if we have articles, like you said, coming out moments after an event happens, we can see truth. And when I engage in different conversations with people, for example, I partook in a protest that is a teach-in. So we went to UB and we showed a documentary. And we were going to show an outdated documentary, and then Mr. Schumann told us that it is outdated and here's an updated version, and we're able to change it on the fly, right? We couldn't have done that at any other time before. So I think it's something that is really helpful. I think, you know, a lot of people have this idea in their minds that Israel is this super old country because you hear the name in the Bible. Yes, exactly. So you think Israel has been around for thousands of years, but it hasn't. It hasn't at all.
It's just to the question I asked, that just as a quick follow-up, or just to continue on your train of thought, it seems as if now a huge part of it is a war of information, right? And while what is taking place in that geographical location is taking place, we as consumers, unless you're really into it, we have to decipher between what side to lean on, or what article to read, or where to get our information. How do you go about doing that?
Well, I am a young person.
Yeah.
And so honestly, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all of it. You can follow Palestinians right now, people who live there. You know, you don't have to get your information from CNN or even Al Jazeera, definitely not Fox News. But if you follow the people who are actually there, you see truth. There's no one skewing the narrative, right? Maybe skewing it to a more sympathetic perspective, because you can hear them crying and screaming and pleading for anyone to help them, but you're not listening to some executive's words being parroted through a figurehead.
Let's step back for a second and look at a bigger picture from a regional perspective within the Middle East. And I'm going in a direction now where I'm bringing Iran into the picture, right? So going back to October 2023, it was believed, and perhaps still strongly so, that Iran was the one who facilitated and supported in several ways the Hamas fighters who entered Israel and caused havoc there. Against the fact that Iran has been working diligently to build and strengthen its nuclear capacity. So which brings us now to this fresh conflict that happened over the past several weeks between Israel and Iran that led to the United States bombing the 3 locations in Iran. Mr. Assad, I want to get your take here once again, right? You're looking at a situation where you have Israel as a country, or as a state, that is at conflict with Palestine and those in the Gaza Strip, but there's the long-held belief that Iran was the one who was financing, Iran provided the training and the wherewithal for October 2023 to happen. Israel now says, you know what? In terms of their enrichment of uranium in Iran, they are nearing the capacity or the capability of creating a nuclear bomb. Let's go and take a preemptive strike against them. Now we're in a fresh circle of conflict again. Let's get your take.
But first of all, that's illegal. I mean, we live in a world that tries to follow certain rules. You have the United Nations, you have international law. Preemptive strikes are illegal. If you read the Charter, if you read Article 2, Article 51, which has to do with self-defense, when you were attacked, nobody attacked Israel, nobody attacked the United States, they attacked Iran, right? But I think that is a diversion. That's a diversion, because you said they don't want them to have nuclear weapons. Does Israel have nuclear weapons? Do you know if Israel has nuclear weapons?
I don't know.
You don't know. Have you read about it? Have you heard about it?
I know of other
They have
countries,
nuclear
admittedly,
weapons.
not necessarily Israel.
They have. Israel has nuclear weapons. South Africa, you think South Africa has nuclear weapons? Today? No.
Not really.
Did it have when it had apartheid regime? Yes.
Yes. Right.
Is there a connection between Israel and South Africa? Apartheid South Africa? Yes, a lot. They were very close.
How do you? Yeah, okay, I want you to expand
You see
on
where I'm
that.
getting at? You have to look
I
at
see
the
where you're
reality,
going.
my brother. You have to say who is the victim and who is the criminal.
Yeah.
The Israeli Defense Force are criminals. They are criminals. They are killing children. They are targeting children. Journalists, priests, educators, everything. Right? Yet in Belize, let's come back to Belize. I understand, I haven't seen it, that there's a list of countries, people that you have to be wary of and so on, special branch immigration. Palestine is on that list. Israel is not. You know, they've been carrying out this genocide, even the International Court of Justice recognizes there's a plausible case for genocide. And then the soldiers, maybe they live in the United States, you know, they have that, and they go there and fight, kill a few people, come back and so on. And a lot of these soldiers go on holiday, of course, they have to have rest and recreation. Many of them, I am told, come to Belize. Child murderers, baby killers, and they're welcome. What you say about that Israel is carrying out mass murder, baby killers, starving children, famine is a horrendous crime.
And of course, the displacement of people from where they...
Imagine. And yet, they get away with it. Nobody says anything about it. So nobody talks about the nuclear bombs that Israel has. How did they get that? Who gave it to them? Why do they have it?
I want to raise another quick issue while I have
since we're talking about Belize, though, I think you should get a young perspective on it.
Yes. We'll get back to Alana.
Yeah.
It's not lost on me that you had made a presentation, perhaps last year, if not the year before, before the World Court, where this situation between Israel and Palestine is concerned. I know that we carried it in our news here, your presentation before the ICJ. In your mind, having made that presentation before the Hague, do you believe that others would have shared similar perspective based on what you shared from a regional perspective, from the Caribbean, for instance? That you have other countries, perhaps Jamaica or Barbados, or other people who would see the same thing that you're seeing from your vantage point?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There are many people, and probably she can tell you more because young people are in contact, I guess, with one another in different countries. Many young people all over the Caribbean are carrying this flag, right? This flag of dignity. When you put up a Palestinian flag, like at the Glastonbury Rock Festival the other day,
I was just telling him about
full of Palestinian flags, but it's people feel the need to.
But Bob Villan got completely rejected, right? They can't enter the U.S. to go on tour because they're pushing a pro-Palestine agenda, at least in the eyes of the United States.
Of course,
right?
and that happens within the United States. We're talking about universities, people going to universities.
Columbia, Harvard.
You have to be afraid to go to a universities in the States when you know that academic freedom no longer exists. She said something powerful a minute ago. She said, truth is the most powerful weapon. You heard that, right? And we all believe that universities are the place where ideas contend, you know, everybody has different things, they're free to express them, you know. That doesn't happen anymore. It's a crime to have a free expression in the US of A.
All right, so we're going to have to wind down this conversation, as interesting as it is. Alana, just to get a few final thoughts from you, is there this concerted effort within the region, whether it's Central America or the Caribbean, among young people with the same passion? And then for you as a young person, what's the ideal outcome here where this conflict is concerned?
Well, the young people in this region, I think, are very cognizant about what is going on. I think there's a disconnect between what we think and what the governments of certain other Caribbean and Central American countries do, because they have interests in keeping certain global powers happy. But the perfect outcome would be a free Palestine. It would be our governments listening to what we really think. Belize does a pretty good job. We can always do more, right? Like a pushy parent, I always want our country to be doing the best, more than anyone else. But in 2021, there was a resolution passed where we recognized that Israel is committing apartheid, is partaking in apartheid, and we recognize that we have an obligation to condemn apartheid. I believe in that resolution there was also the a piece that said that we need to create more laws to sanction Israel, which hasn't been done. That's something that I would love to see our government push more. But yeah, the perfect outcome is a free Palestine.
Excellent. So Assad, final thoughts.
I think it's a matter of people recognizing, again, that this is a settler colonial situation. It's not, as she said, that Israel has been there thousands of years. It's just created by terrorism a few years ago. People who were kicked out are still alive today, and they're not allowed to go back. As I said, Gaza, all those people were living right there. They didn't invade, they went back home, right? So it's a matter of perspective, and I think the principle that we have to stand on, the only one that really matters, because it matters to us as well, is self-determination. That's how we got our independence, by fighting on the principle of self-determination. That principle is being denied to the Palestinian people. And if we stand by and allow that to happen, you know the story. It happens to you today, it happens to me tomorrow. The world is very connected. So we have a lot at stake when international law means nothing. When the same Norman Finkelstein was saying about what happened at Iran, he said international law died on those days. Now any country can feel free to invade any other country. Think about that in terms of Belize. They're free with impunity. So we are affected by what is happening there very much.
Great. Excellent. We want to thank you both for joining us on set this morning and having this very insightful conversation. All right, so with that, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we have more Open Your Eyes. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
In our world that's always changing, one thing stays the same.
Our promise as Smart Belize to keep you connected.
Connected to the moments, the people, and the future that matter most.
With every new tower, our service upgrades, and every new smile, we're keeping our promise in building more than a network.
We're building a future, a family as Smart Belize. From Punta Gorda to Corozal, we are here not just as a network, but as your partner in progress.
We have grown significantly over the past 20 years, and we just keep growing. Thank you for placing your trust in us. We remain dedicated to providing meaningful connections that bring value in every way that matters to you. We continue to bring people together.
Are you ready for KTV The Remix Season 7? The stage is set, the lights are on, and the voices are coming back stronger than ever. KTV The Remix Season 7 returns on July 1st, and it's going to be bigger, bolder, and more electrifying. New voices, new talent, fame, iconic showdown. Who will rise? Who will remix? Who will rule the stage? Tuesday, July 1st, the comeback begins. KTV The Remix Season 7, where talent takes the mic.
My name is Leomar Langzert, and I'm a teacher, and I bank with Belize Bank Independence Branch. What I enjoy is the safety features that the app offers. I have a sense of not having to worry or be concerned about somebody finding my password and username to sign in the application because of the use of the one-time password. And another feature that I love, that I use the most, is how the app synchronizes with my fingerprint on my device. I enjoy the rapid and easy, seamless process to apply for loans through the Belize Bank, and I don't have to be having too much back and forth to visit or take time to visit the bank. They also start to offer the online applications through the app for loan applications, which I believe is very neat. I would definitely recommend Belize Bank to other teachers because one of all the features and advantages that the app offer with these online that Belize Bank offered is basically everything that you can do in the palm of your hand. So I would definitely recommend the bank to other teachers.
We at FULTEC Systems understand that technology isn't just a tool, it's a game changer at home, smart devices and AI are revolutionizing daily life. In education, tech is making learning more interactive and accessible for students and educators alike. For businesses and government, it's driving innovation, streamlining operations, and unlocking growth, leveraging tech for better services, infrastructure, and security. At FULTEC Systems, we help you thrive with cutting-edge solutions, partnering with leaders like Dell, HP, Microsoft, APC, Fortinet, Cisco, and Tomy 8. We deliver the right products for your needs, whether it's boosting efficiency, improving customer engagement, or scaling operations. Connect with us and let's drive innovation together. FULTEC Systems, your technology center, where you come for the price, but stay for the service.
Welcome back and thank you for staying tuned. This is our second conversation for this morning, and it's all about FULTEC and 33 years of customers and community. And we have joining us on set the Senior Marketing and Communications Executive over at FULTEC Systems Limited, Hector Molina, as well as the Marketing Representative also from FULTEC Systems Limited, Jolene Flowers. Good morning. Janelle. Thinking Jolene. I'm not sure where that came from. Probably thinking of that song, Jolene, right? Good morning to both of you. It's a pleasure having you. 33 years. Talk a bit about how big of an occasion this is, celebrating 33 years in July.
So definitely it's exciting. Every year we try to make it even more and more better. And again, celebrating 33 years of providing Belize with quality IT products, solutions, and services, right? Because FULTEC started back with Mr. and Mrs. Fuller back in Texas, and then it moved here to Belize, where we started providing banking equipment, and then we did a big project installing the first ATM in Belize, implementing the first driver's license in Belize, designing it and implementing it. As well, we used to make our own PCs, and that is just one of many things, right? And the theme for this year is pioneering progress and empowering the future of Belize, because that's all that we've been doing, right? And that is thanks to our strategic partnership with global brands, Dell, HP, Epson, and all those wonderful partners that we have. And this year, again, using some of those partners that are global giants, and as well some of the local businesses, we decided to have our anniversary raffle with 17 exciting prizes from family getaways to adventure time to quality products, again, printers, smart home devices. Janelle could share a little bit into that, right?
Before we get into the prizes and what have you, this is what I'm thinking, right? Every year, beyond a certain number of years, is a milestone. Correct. Right? I think what's challenging is how do you separate or make different what you're doing this year as a milestone at 33 as opposed to what you did a year or 2 or 3 ago in terms of perhaps the activities and the celebration of this particular marker? How do you do that?
Well, you do it with the experience, right? We like to use, like, for example, after this year activity is done, we'll use that as a way to make the other event even more memorable. So again, what we learned from last year, we're using it to make this year even much better, right? And again, collaborating more with our international partners and as well with the local business to create that relationship to make, again, with their unique services, even make the raffle more exciting. Because again, you may visit the store during this time to take a back to school bundle that we would be releasing soon, right? With laptop and printer. And before you know what, you get a chance to win an overnight stay at Caves Branch, or maybe you win an overnight stay at Island Magic Villas, or maybe you win a printer, EcoTank printer, or maybe smart cameras. You know, you're not just spending and giving your loyalty to, your patriotism to Fulltech when it comes to trusting us in everything IT, but you're also getting something in return. And even not with that, but you know, we'll have other giveaways for the month that again we're going to share on, that they could participate without the need of a purchase, right?
So let's get to Janelle now and talk to us about the giveaways. This 17, you said?
17. Yeah, it's 17 prizes that we're
prizes. All right, go ahead. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, so as Hector mentioned, we have 17 prizes, all inclusive of overnight stays, family adventures, smart home tech, and our grand prize, which is our gaming PC bundle.
Yeah, we have a wonderful gaming PC, and that comes.
That's all the rave.
Describe that for you.
So the gaming PC, it's a powerful PC again for gaming, or at least if you want to use it even for self-entertainment too as well. And you get it with the UPS, you get it with a 27-inch monitor, you get it with the softwares that are the antivirus, you get the 365 software, so you could, you know, productivity, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and you get a flash drive too as well with it. And yeah, that's the grand prize, and it's valued around $2,500 or so for that grand prize. And definitely whoever wins it is going to enjoy it. Of
course.
Again, for graphics or again for gaming.
How do you enter to win one of these 17 prizes, Janelle?
So for every purchase, for every $50 spent at Fulltech Systems, Belize City, Belmopan, our service department, or online, you get a chance to enter into the raffle.
And how often are these prizes going to be raffled? Is just one day?
So we're gonna do. It's going to be a 1 day. We're gonna do it at the end of the month, which is July 31st, a Thursday, and we're going to do it at 4 p.m. live on Facebook. So we're going to be
all 17.
Yeah, all 17 prizes.
Win something.
Yeah. So and again, because it's every $50, so you imagine you came to buy a $200 product, you got already 4 tickets there, and the more you buy, the more chances you get. And sometimes it's just, remember, it's just 1 ticket you need to win. So 17 prizes, so you have more than one chance to win something out of that, right? Full of excitement, and especially, like, for example, our upcoming Customer Appreciation Day, which is for July 18th. For that day, for that 1 day, you're gonna get double tickets. So you could say that for every $25 now, you can get a chance to win an amazing prize, right?
Okay. So on July 18th,
it's
you go in the
Appreciation
store,
Day.
you purchase, you make a $50 purchase, and you get two tickets.
And besides that, you can spin our prize wheel. We're going to have a prize wheel. We always place out a prize wheel where besides your purchasing, you can spin that. You can win some Fulltech merch or some flash drive, something that is within the prize wheel. We'll have free refreshments. We'll have music. We'll have some exclusive deals too as well for that 1 day that you can take advantage of. So
and the thing is, the giveaway or the give boxes and stuff there, because you're also launching a Fun Friday giveaway challenge this month as well.
Correct. So every Friday for the month of July, we have a challenge. So for example, this Friday here, we're having a review challenge. So it's simple as that. Go to our Facebook page, post your review in regards to your Fulltech experience, and simple as that, you're entered into the prize wheel that we're going to do and randomly select a winner this coming Friday. So simple as that. And if you want an extra entry, you just have to post a picture with your review, and that's an additional bonus entry. So it's simple as that, nothing complicated for customers to participate. Again, no purchase necessary, because that's just literally
You're
just
basically
going to
gauging customer satisfaction, right?
Correct.
And this is every Friday in July.
And you imagine the price for this one is a JBL Clip 4. So you're getting a nice JBL waterproof speaker. And that's all you have to do. And then this is just one of those exciting prizes. When this Friday we select the winner, we're going to release the next challenge. And the next challenge is, I'm just going to give a hint, but it's going to be an Instagram challenge. And again, it's going to be something very simple to participate. So anyone can join. Anyone could try to participate in this challenge and get a chance to win, because there's nothing.
You're looking for the good reviews, right?
Well, we're looking for the good reviews, but again, it's your Fulltech experience.
Right. So if somebody have any criticism or maybe something to improve, I step in and the AC never cool enough. So
we're hoping for the best.
And there's no limit to the words in terms.
No. It's your feedback in regards to what you think your Fulltech experience was. Again, in the store, online, because maybe you didn't came to the store physically, but then you had a order placed, through our WhatsApp, through our Facebook, and you thought, man, this was quick, this was wonderful, because we actually get already reviews on our page, and all of them have been always positive.
So
again,
it's solely, not to cut you, but it's solely text-based and image, because if somebody wants to do a little 10-30 seconds video of their experience,
they can go ahead and do it, and I actually would even give more bonus prizes.
I would imagine, right? They get 2 speakers.
So I was just trying to give it or make it more easier for anyone to do it, because not everyone wants to jump and do a video and be like, okay,
But what I appreciate about the approach is that you're driving engagement using various platforms, right? So if I heard you earlier with Facebook for the grand prize on the 31st of July, for these weekly prizes you're using Instagram or any other platform.
Correct.
It's with a view that you'll get as much interaction with your customers.
Correct. We normally utilize like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, or LinkedIn, Google Business. But for now, we're kind of focusing more within the Facebook and the Instagram. Since, again, going back to past data, we have realized those are the platforms that create the most engagement and people are actually more active on, so that's the reason why we chose those platforms, and again choosing this Facebook to start, because that was the most engaging platform.
So after 33 years, you've become a trusted brand. I think we here, we're almost the same age, right? It's interesting, we're like siblings in a sense, and then we're neighbors as well. You become a trusted brand. Now you have a challenge, because you have a young generation that's growing up with devices in their hands the moment they come out of the womb, in a sense. They're all about tech. They understand tech more than generations in the past. They're looking for what's new, what could make their lives easier, what's innovative. How does Fulltech, as its trusted brand, plan to move with this generation into the future with innovation?
Well, again, it's thanks to the partnerships, because every time our partners are innovating, taking out, looking at the trends and always implementing those technologies on the products. Again, just to maybe look at something very basic like a camera. Back then, a camera was just a camera, right? Now you have cameras with AI, with sensors, with facial recognition, and all of these type of technology, and that is what some of those brands are the brands that we carry. Again, to provide customers with advanced technology, not just something that you might look as a basic camera, but you can look at it as a solution, because some of them even come with like smoke sensors, and different things that you could recognize vehicle face plates, and different, again, or even recognize the color of a clothes, and you're again maybe through a robbery or maybe some type of event and you need to check the camera. You imagine rewinding back just to find that particular scene, when you could just type on the dashboard person with red shirt, and the camera is able to, again with the technology, pinpoint all those scenes for you, so you could just go in there and then, okay, it's not this one, okay, jump to the next scene, right? So that, again, thanks to our partnership, we're definitely looking to always be on top of our game. And as well, even we look at different trends happening around us within the tech industry, right? And we try to join or as well test them out, because like for example, even our EcoFlow portable generators, that was an experiment. That was something we saw the solution, but we didn't know how the market would accept it, right?
Yeah.
And when we went ahead with it, I mean, they're going off the shelf, right? Of course. The EcoFlow portable generator.
You brought those different sizes, right, or the different capacities here, I still intrigued by how amazing those compact those products
and
are.
it's not just a regular generator, but again, something that you could control on your phone from anywhere at any time. You're able to see the battery, the capacity, how long you're going to run it, rather than you be guessing, okay, this is 10 watts and maybe it's gonna give me 8 hours, maybe it's gonna give me 2 hours. You're not guessing anymore, right? So
so finally, let me ask you, Janelle, just to talk a bit about customers and how integral customers have been to get Fulltech to this point, and your message to customers today as they move with you into the future. Just your thoughts a bit, and then I'll have Hector wrap it up.
So can you elaborate a bit?
So I'm just asking about the importance of customers, how important they have been to this journey.
Well, we have made it to 33 years. That means a lot to us. And without our customers, our loyal customers, we wouldn't be here. So thank you to them, and we continue to hope to provide solutions like Fulltech systems to them.
Your message to customers?
Well, again, like Janelle said, thank you again to our loyal customers for trusting us in everything they do, our projects, anything that they think when they think innovation and IT, for the betterment of healthcare, education, business, for trusting Fulltech. But before we go, by the way, I would also like to shout out and say thank you to our partners that again made our raffle more exciting, and that includes our global partners like we have Epson, we have HP, we have Uno Techno, we have Next Solutions, and again we have some EcoFlow as well. And Janelle could maybe probably mention some of our partners here locally that we partner with, which I think again their support, their partnership is what also powers us as well, right? Customers and our partnership, the relationships that we built, is not just like selling a product, but it's creating a relationship and a partnership, right?
Yes.
Locals.
Yeah, so thank you to our generous local partners, such as Ian Anderson's, Caves Branch Adventure Co. and Jungle Lodge. We have the Jungle Lodge at Jagger Reef, Myanmar, Belizean Dreams Resort, Kikiwits, Island Magic Villas, Grace Kennedy, Madisco, Digicel, and DigiWallet.
Excellent. Thank you all so much, and congratulations on 33 years, and we do hope that the celebration goes well and all goes according to plan moving into the future.
And thank you all for having us here, right?
Thank you.
No problem, it's a pleasure. All right, so that's Fulltech celebrating 33 years. We have more Open Your Eyes for you, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Ready for KTV, the Remix Season 7? The stage is set, the lights are on, and the voices are coming back stronger than ever. KTV, the Remix Season 7 returns on July 1st, and it's going to be bigger, bolder, and more electrifying. New voices, new talent, fame, iconic showdown. Who will rise? Who will remix? Who will rule the stage? Tuesday, July 1st, the comeback begins. KTV, the remix season 7, where talent takes the mic.
In our world that's always changing, one thing stays the same.
Our promise as Smart Belize to keep you connected.
Connected to the moments, the people, and the future that matter most.
With every new tower, our service upgrades, and every new smile, we're keeping our promise in building more than a network.
We're building a future, a family as Smart Belize. From Punta Gorda to Curacao, we are here not just as a network, but as your partner in progress.
We have grown significantly over the past 20 years, and we just keep growing. Thank you for placing your trust in us. We remain dedicated to providing meaningful connections that bring value in every way that matters to you. We continue to bring people together.
Benny's is kicking off Father's Day with popping deals for dad. In the month of June, visit a Benny's near you and get 19 to 25% off selected items such as Milwaukee and Axie power tools, Charbroil barbecue grills, car care products, Karcher pressure washers, and much, much more. Make dad happy with popping deals for dad in June, only at Benny's.
Benny's, Benny's, oh, Benny's, Benny's. Benny's, Benny's, oh.
In our world that's always changing, one thing stays the same.
Our promise as Smart Belize to keep you connected.
Connected to the moments, the people, and the future that matter most.
With every new tower, our service upgrades, and every new smile, we're keeping our promise in building more than a network.
We're building a future, a family as Smart Belize. From Punta Gorda to Curacao, we are here not just as a network, but as your partner in progress.
We have grown significantly over the past 20 years, and we just keep growing. Thank you for placing your trust in us. We remain dedicated to providing meaningful connections that bring value in every way that matters to you. We continue to bring people together.
Are you ready for KTV, the remix season 7? The stage is set, the lights are on, and the voices are coming back stronger than ever. KTV, the remix season 7 returns on July 1st, and it's going to be bigger, bolder, and more electrifying. New voices, new talent, fame, iconic showdown. Who will rise? Who will remix? Who will rule the stage? Tuesday, July 1st, the comeback begins. KTV, the remix season 7, where talent takes the mic.
And welcome back. Joining me for a one-on-one conversation in this segment is 63-year-old Belizean Wayne Moody. He has been living abroad for a number of years and he's back home. His journey is one that you want to pay keen attention to, and the fact that he has, over these many years, mentored quite a number of Belizeans, including my good friend Louis Sosa, who works along with me. But that's a different conversation. Good morning, Wayne. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, man. Thanks for having me.
How's it going?
Man, I'm the happiest person you can think of. There's nobody as happy as I am.
Well, I'm glad to have met you in person. I've interviewed you before with Charlie Slusher on a previous...
That's one of my mentees.
There we go. On a previous show. So it's nice to have you here with us on set. Let's begin by talking about your journey and the fact that while living in the United States, you've never really turned your back on Belize. It's always been a labor of love and a passion of yours to be able to give back to this country. Let's start there.
You know, they say never. And I said I would never live in America. That's what I said.
Yeah.
And it so ended up that I ended up living in America. When I left here, I was married, not married now, but I had moved to the States, and that was a journey. So, you know, a lot of time people know you for who you were, but they don't know you for who you are. So who I am today is not who I was then. And for the last 20 plus years I was there, and actually it was 1/3 of my life has been given so far. And it was like 4 or 5 years ago I decided that the last chapter is for Belize. And a part of that journey was I left the last job that I had. I was working with adults that are challenged. I was managing a behavior program, and that is something too that I would love to see more of here. Talk about dealing with people who have challenges with different diagnoses, but that became so toxic for me. I loved it, but it was not giving me the life that I needed. And I shifted, and believe it or not, my niece, who I call the genie in the bottle, she said, "Uncle, why don't you try Uber?" I bought a brand new car, and I started on the weekends, and I told the job 30 days notice, and I was gone, and I did Uber for like 4 years and 8 months.
Did you find that kind of satisfaction doing that as opposed to what you're doing before?
You know what? I was sent abroad on a couple of occasions when I lived here as an ambassador. Here I was taking people around in a car. But I met a lot of people, and then I got certified to be a life coach, and I would tell my riders, I would give them a business card, and I would say, when you come to Belize, just let me know that I gave you a ride. And a lot of my clients came through that experience.
Wow.
One young guy who was at USC, I met him, taking him to the airport for Thanksgiving. He has like almost 130,000 followers. And now I'm connected to him. So on this journey of being a life coach, because I first did the work on myself. Because it's like you're a personal trainer, you want to be in fit shape first. If I'm going to coach you to see your dream become a reality, my dream needs to be a reality first. And when I did the process, because if you have to have a dream, and my dream was to coach the nation of Belize.
How important is coaching to you in terms of being able to impart your knowledge on your mentees, and the fact that perhaps you're equipping them with the skills to make it through life?
Well, you know, 7, 8 years old on West Street, because that's where I grew up, West Street, Canal Side, on the south side, I would have school. I would take my allowance and buy candy and teach, and I always was a teacher. Fast forward, I go to St. Michael's College, Technical College, and I did education as my minor. I taught for a year at Belize Technical College. Then I went to Jamaica to Bible school. Then I came back, and then I taught at Sec 1, which is now EP York. I was the first teacher. Mr. Janitor was the principal, and I was the first teacher that had the students in 3 years do CXC.
Wow.
And that's when we decided, you know what, why not go 4 years? So I did that, but then back to the life coaching. I know what I desire to see in my life, and I'm teaching people what I'm actually seeing in my life. Because if I get a personal trainer, at least you gotta look like you're in shape. And what I'm doing is teaching people by showing people that, hey, this is possible, and I'm serving. So I serve, and I empower, and I transform. Set.
Here's the thing, Wayne. I think you're coming back at a critical time when a lot of young men and women, perhaps more so young men, need the kind of guidance and mentorship that you can provide. Simply because a lot of young men come from broken homes where they don't have the kind of father figure, or they don't have the kind of stability that would allow them to be able to see a dream, envision it, and being able to manifest it. They need someone who would be able to guide them along, you know, from thought or concept to actual material. So again, you come at a critical time where Belize needs more people like you. You being here, what have you been seeing? And even when you weren't here, you're still working closely with Belizeans at home.
In the mornings, I'm watching you guys. I'm watching the other media houses because I'm in touch with what's happening. Actually, I think I sent a clip. I've been working with the kids at ACC, scholarship recipients on the South Side, for the last 2 years. And this past year, before they went on summer break, they sent me a thank you saying, thank you for the work I've been doing with them. But I love to use my story, because when I tell you my story, you can understand. At 14 years old, My mom's life was taken by a police officer on the south side.
Yeah.
And at 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, I was coaching my little brothers because he was not going to be alive as long as we were alive. At 18, I had a spiritual experience and my mindset starts changing. 2 years after, he was found with a bullet in his head. My youngest brother, who's I think one of the greatest dream builders I know, he now works, he went to school in the States, and he's one of the greatest patriots I believe we have here. He's a civil engineer. He studied in LA. He got
my good friend Evandale?
Yes, and he's one of the most humble person that you can think of serving, and he served for all his years. He has actually served here from the south side, having the kind of experience. So when we say my environment gives me what I have, no, because he weren't even 3.
Yeah,
and he didn't know his mom.
That thing is that narrative kind of goes both ways though, because there's an argument that could be had when we say we're the product of our environment, but there's also an argument that can be had that says, no, you don't necessarily have to. It's what you make of the situation that you're faced with, and being able to find within yourself the means to overcome certain adversities or challenges within your environment.
You know where the most beautiful lilies are found? In the swamp.
Yeah.
So
floating in the pond in the middle of the swamp.
and this is, I mean, the most beautiful lilies are found in the swamp. And I can tell of going to sleep at night after my mom died, and I was hoping that I would wake, and she was not. But then I had to come to reality. This is what it is. So,
let me interject quickly, Wayne, only because I've heard parts of this story from you before, but it's very, very interesting. Did you have resentment? Did you have to deal with resentment and perhaps anger?
That's a part of the modules that I teach. I do a 12-week program, right? And the only module that is 2 weeks is forgiveness. Because our life is like a conduit, right?
Yeah.
And when the pipe system is blocked, it backs up, and it's one of the most messy and stinking thing that you can deal with. And you meet people and you realize, man, they got issues. They got stuff that they need
Serious
to process.
Issues.
But unless we process it, it's going to be there. And I could go into a depth of it, because one of the things that we have to consider is what we experience from slavery, what we experience from colonization. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be unraveled. And if we push it under the rug, it's just going to go on for cycles and cycles. We got to break the generational cycles. We got to break those stuff that we carry.
Yeah.
And it takes work. It's not an easy thing, but it's possible.
Talk to me about some of your successes through life coaching and mentorship. So, as I've mentioned, you've dealt with a lot of young men, perhaps a good number of them who would be considered back then as at risk. They have turned their lives around and become successful. Talk to us about some of those success stories.
Who comes to mind is Charlie Carlos. I was at Sec 1, and literally he would sometimes come to school without his shoes.
Yeah.
And some teachers might not want to deal with him, but I took him under my wing. And I remember one time he was giving me a haircut, and I know he's going to be like, "Sir, did you say that?" He cut me with the scissors.
Wow.
So he gave a scar. But he's one. I mean, Armin Arana, Linsford Castillo, Hampton Gamboa. And these are young men now who have established themselves in the society.
So I know Linsford, Cass, my good friend.
You know Armin.
I know Armin.
You know
we did radio together. I know Glam. He's at Fishery.
Yes.
So these are people who I would consider to an extent my contemporaries, right? People who aren't that far apart in age that we know each other. But I wouldn't have known that you played an instrumental role in where they are in one shape or another.
I don't need to be known, because you want to do what you do silently, and then you want to then celebrate what it is. Because my first client, since I became a life coach, he's Dr. Highshaw. When I started working with Dr. Highshaw, he had funding for 3 staff. He's a social entrepreneur.
Yeah.
Ahmad is the institute that he created. Today, Ahmad is a multi-million-dollar nonprofit with over 35 staff.
Wow.
I mean, I have what I call 2 billionaire dream builders. Their idea is to billions. Actually, one of them, I asked him if he would come here early next year to share his journey. He's a young Nigerian.
Yeah.
Young Nigerian who, and again, a little becomes much when you put it in the hands of the Creator.
So, your journey has been full circle, right? How do you now take the wealth of knowledge that you've had, both at home and abroad, and come back and be able to impart to the younger generation or persons who are in need of life coaching?
I'm just going to continue what I've always done. There was no stop, because even when I left, I'm still in touch. But I was at a leadership conference earlier this year, and one of the speakers said, as a mentor, as a parent, as a teacher, as a pastor, anyone, your ceiling become those that you're working with, that becomes their floor.
Yeah.
Because we stand on great shoulders. Us as a people, and this is just my own philosophy, our ancestors didn't come with Columbus. They were coming across before Columbus. That's why in Machu Picchu, that's why the Mayans, that's why the natives, they were coming across before. But the history that we are told is that they came across just with slavery. Our people, as a people of melanin, have created so much. And yet, where is it? It's in London.
Yeah, that's true. Wayne, before I let you go, we need to talk about the upcoming summit that you're hosting.
Yes.
Let's get some info on
Since
that.
I started in 2020, I've done a virtual summit every year. And I told my clients in 2023, after 2025, you come to Belize to see me.
Yeah.
The first in-person summit we started planning in 2023, and I remember I mentioned to the Minister of Tourism, I mentioned to him what I was doing, and he said, these people have to have the best possible experience when they come here. So we prepared in 2023. They're going to be coming in the Saturday after Thanksgiving. Saturday night they'll be at Biltmore. Sunday we're going to have an expo, invited, and these are people who are going to come and show what they have manifested. But I also have clients here who have coached. Dr. Marfield, who is in the Belmont Pine area, his dream is to create a health and wellness center in the nation. He's doing what he can with what he has right now, building. And because of the network that I have, I'm looking at where people who want to invest. If you want to come and just enjoy, you can come. If you want to come and invest, if you want to come and impart. But I am a conduit to greater things. So the summit, and my dream is that people are going to be leaving asking, when can we come again?
Excellent. Any final words for our viewers? Perhaps a pitch to them to attend or participate in the upcoming summit?
Well, when I was getting ready to come back, everybody told me to take my time. So I'm back, and I did Social Security yesterday, I did the credit union, I did all this stuff. I got to leave again the end of this month. A friend of mine got married, and I got to go and officiate a wedding in Punta Cana. But in August, I want to start a school in honor of my dad and mom. Albert and Louise Moody School of Dreams. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I could do 10 people on Tuesday, 10 people on Thursday, and I would love to take them through the process that I've been through. And again, people say, well, it's going to cost. Yes, it's going to cost, but it's not necessarily going to cost anything other than you committing yourself. It's going to have a value because I teach and I coach not to be paid, but because I teach and I coach, I'm being paid. And a client I worked with in the States for 3 months, you talk about 5,000 US. Am I saying that to a Belizean? No. What's the minimum wage? $5 Belize?
$5 at present. With a push for 6,
so,
we're at 5.
But I come to serve, to empower, right, and transform. And for example, ACC, where I've been working, I'm going to do a staff development with the staff there. I spoke to Ms. Cantor, who was there when I was a teacher. I'd love to go at EPR and do some staff development. The assistant dean at SJC Junior College, she's a life coach, she's a dream builder. And she's asked me to do some staff development with her. So anyone that has any way that you feel like you'd want to have me for whatever, I'm available because I'm here to serve. A minister is a servant. Now, we probably know of ministers who they serve, but we don't know what they serve or who they serve.
That's an entirely different conversation, all right? But hey, thanks for stopping by, Wayne,
My
and
pleasure.
welcome back to Belize.
My pleasure.
We're looking forward to great things with you here at home. And of course, we will invite you back on the show whenever the time is available for us to get an update from you, sorry.
I appreciate that, thanks.
Thanks once again. So when we return, it's to showcase some products from Kent. It's a popular brand that you guys at home would know about. We'll be back shortly.
Benny's is kicking off Father's Day with popping deals for dad. In the month of June, visit a Benny's near you and get 19 to 25% off selected items such as Milwaukee and Axie power tools, Charbroil barbecue grills, car care products, Karcher pressure washers, and much, much more. Make dad happy with popping deals for dad in June, only at Benny's.
Benny's, Benny's, oh, Benny's, Benny's. Benny's, Benny's, oh.
In our world that's always changing, one thing stays the same.
Our promise as Smart Belize to keep you connected.
Connected to the moments, the people, and the future that matter most.
With every new tower, our service upgrades, and every new smile, we're keeping our promise in building more than a network.
We're building a future, a family as Smart Belize. From Punta Gorda to Caraza, we are here not just as a network, but as your partner in progress.
We have grown significantly over the past 20 years, and we just keep growing. Thank you for placing your trust in us. We remain dedicated to providing meaningful connections that bring value in every way that matters to you. We continue to bring people together.
Are you ready for KTV The Remix Season 7? The stage is set, the lights are on, and the voices are coming back stronger than ever. KTV The Remix Season 7 returns on July 1st, and it's going to be bigger, bolder, and more electrifying. New voices, new talent, same iconic showdown. Who will rise? Who will remix? Who will rule the stage? Tuesday, July 1st, the comeback begins. KTV The Remix Season 7, where talent takes the mic.
Something like it works in your favor. Back and thank you for staying tuned with us. We have an exciting conversation coming up. We have on set with us, we're graced with the presence of none other than Miss Universe Belize 2025, Miss Isabella Zabani. Good morning.
Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure having you and the Black Orchid crown live and direct on set. How does it feel wearing that crown and that sash today?
It still hasn't sunk in yet. It's very surreal.
Yeah. So let's go back to Saturday night.
When you called my name.
Yes. Before that though, the jitters perhaps or the emotions entering that stadium, knowing that this is the night that you've dreamt of for a long time. Mm-hmm. What was going through your mind?
So one of my biggest prayers for the night was that I wouldn't feel nervous, that I wouldn't, I would just go out and give it my all and not have any butterflies. And by the grace of God, my prayers were answered. I wasn't nervous at all. I think being able to just have the right people backstage with me and great music from the DJ, I was dancing backstage, I was just having a good time. That really helped me to be able to just give my best on stage and not worry about what else was going on.
What was it like interacting with the other ladies, understanding that there's a balance between a perspective that these are my friends, if you would, sisters who've built a sisterhood, but at the end of the day, only one of us could wear this crown. How do you balance that?
Well, throughout pageant week, I think we've said it time and time again, and I stand by this. This was the best class of girls I could have ever imagined. At no point did I feel like there was a hard, strong competition feeling. We were all just, I can't even think of the words. Everybody was so kind and so generous and giving of their time. It would be like, Libni, can you help me take pictures? Oh, of course. Do you want to make a TikTok with me? Of course. You know, like there was never any real malicious anything, you know, and I really appreciated that. And from the very beginning of the whole process, I made a point of telling people, do not compare any of these women because they're all so uniquely perfect for this role. And I know only one can come out on top with and walk away with the crown. But I mean, my goodness, all of them. I'm so incredibly honored that I got to walk through this journey with them.
Yeah, and being on stage in front of this large audience, everybody cheering. The lights are bright. They're very bright lights on stage. What goes through your mind while you're on stage, whether it's for the swimsuit, the question and answer, which comes with its own pressures, the evening gown. We could only see what your body is expressing, but mentally, what are you thinking?
I will say I love being on stage, so that's never been an issue or something I've struggled with. But the stage lights, I couldn't see anybody in the audience except for the people directly to the side of the runway, which conveniently is where my family was, so I got to see them going crazy, which was awesome. And then my other sister queens, so Miss Earth, Miss World, Miss San Pedro, and the current Queen of the Bay. So all of those sister queens that I now have, they were really the only people I was able to see, and that was really sweet because they were just the most supportive people. But not being able to see the rest of the audience, I had a love-hate relationship with it because you could hear the screams, but I love seeing the faces and the reactions. But at the same time, because I couldn't see anything, it was like nobody was there. So it was just like, you just keep doing your thing.
Yeah. Now we go to the moment where yourself and Monisha Hyde were announced as the top two. You all go in front of the stage, in front of the audience, and you hold hands. And then your name is called as the Miss Universe Belize 2025. How surreal was that for you?
So I said this yesterday. I knew the work I had put in was worthy of a top 3 placement, or at least that's what I think. I gave my all and I left my heart on that stage, and I would have been satisfied knowing that I put my best foot forward, whatever the outcome was. But to be able to be holding hands with Monisha, who I'd had conversation with prior to this whole process, even beginning before applications. So to be able to be in top 2 with her was really special. But the surreal feeling of it, I was just shocked. I couldn't process it. As much as I wanted the crown and was hungry for the crown, there's always a part of you that thinks, my goodness, I might not walk away with the crown, which I would have been okay with, that's very big for me to admit, because wanting this so much, you never want to say, I'll be okay if I don't win. But to be able to do that with her and be there with her, she gave me the biggest hug, and it was so sweet. And I'm honored that it was her and I holding hands, truly.
How do you navigate the chatter following a pageant, following results, whether it's in favor of you, in favor of another a candidate or a delegate, so a delegate at the time, whether it's positive, whether it's negative? You have to navigate this. Do you stay away from the conversations on social media? How do you navigate that?
Well, thankfully, I've had my sister and a couple other people actually log into my accounts on social media, so most of my posting has been done by them. I'll respond to messages, that's all me, but as far as making posts and looking at comments and things like that, people are dealing with that for me. Negative comments, this is actually really funny. I haven't seen a single negative comment yet. I have only seen the responses to the negative comments, so people are defending me, which I kind of wish I could see the negative comments because I want to know what they're talking about, because then people are just like, well, and you're like, well, who's saying something negative? But I'm kind of oblivious to it, and I like to think that ignorance is bliss sometimes, and so the fact that I'm not seeing it is a good thing.
Clearly, the judges thought and based on a system that you were deserving of this crown, and clearly you have a huge support system behind you as well. Not only family, this extended family, there's fans, some that may have come into the auditorium supporting you, and some that perhaps grew to support and love you that night. However, there is perhaps a group that, well, let me ask it this way. What would you say is the biggest misconception about you and the person that you are?
Oh, okay, so this is something I mentioned in my personal statement. I recognize that I grew up a lot more blessed and fortunate than some people.
No, you didn't say that.
And that's something that I've battled with for a long time, because people have often framed it as something that is negative. But like I said in my personal statement, you can choose for your privilege and your blessings to be a bridge to different communities. It doesn't have to be a wall. I've gotten the perception, or people have communicated this perception, that I'm this high-reaching, unattainable person, and I don't think that's who I am at all. If you ask people back home, I'm not just a village gal. I walk around in comfortable clothes, and I don't care what people think about me. Half the time you'll see me barefoot playing with kids in a park. Like, I am not this person who sits up on a high horse, and my nonprofit has given me the opportunity to take what I've been blessed with to be able to bless others. And so I think through this process, like, that's one thing I want people to understand about me. My last name is my last name. I didn't choose it. My skin color is my skin color. I didn't choose it. But neither of those things mean one particular thing about me that's a stereotype or a perception.
Yeah, and we saw you taking pictures with that horse, and you weren't sitting on a high horse, you're actually standing beside
right.
the horse. Beautiful pictures.
The horse is my equal.
Yeah, right. How do you now prepare for the world stage? This is a huge deal. We're talking Thailand, we're talking a lot of dozens of countries. This is a different level. How do you prepare, first of all, mentally, before you even get into the physical and advocacy and all of that?
Well, I've said this before, but as much as I wanted to become Miss Universe Belize, I didn't step on that stage for Belize. I stepped on that stage ready for the universe. And you can never be perfect, so there's things that I can refine, of course, and speech and walking and elegance and poise, all of those things can be perfectly refined before getting to Miss Universe. But I stepped on that stage hungry for the Miss Universe crown. And I know that Belize hasn't placed in a very, very, very long time. And so I'm going to give it my all to be able to make history once again. And just like queens before me, like we love Belize, and we want to make a difference here and change the narrative of pageantry in Belize. And so as far as preparation goes, I'm blessed the organization is giving me a little bit of a break before we go into like heavy Miss Universe training. But I'm just gonna give it my all. I'm gonna wake up every day knowing that this is a blessing and this is what I wanted. And even if I'm tired or exhausted, this was my goal. And so I'm gonna give everything for it.
And school, you're also on an academic journey, correct?
I am.
Where are you right now in your journey?
So I have 2 more classes left before I finish with my master's in professional communication, which seems so close but so far. The program I was doing is in person only. And so I'm trying to find a loophole where I can finish online, because I would love to say that I'm 21 with a master's degree when I'm on the Miss Universe stage.
After completing this aspect of the journey, what's your message to young ladies out there?
I love this question because there's so many different things that you can say. I would say to young women that you are worthy and that you are capable of more than anything you'll ever comprehend. Your value is inherent. You were born with God's blessing over your life, and He has a purpose for you. So if you walk in that purpose and really dedicate your life to being the person that you were created to be, the game changes. The narrative becomes completely different, and doors open for you that you would have never expected to be opened. And this is a testament to that. As much as I was hungry for this crown, this was a door that was opened because I took a bold step of faith.
And we'll work to get you even hungrier
Yes.
for the world stage and for the Miss Universe crown. As we wrap up, is there anybody you'd like to thank? Anyone you'd like to thank for being along with you in this journey?
Well, first of all, I stumbled there. I have to thank my family, my friends, and my supporters. I don't know who I would be without you guys, and where I would be without your encouragement and support. All of my sponsors, there is a list a mile long, and the generosity of people throughout this process has been absolutely incredible. As far as sponsors for Miss Universe Belize, this absolutely would not be able to happen without you, and I'm so incredibly grateful. Businesses like BWS, Next Gen TNC, Madisco is a big one, Maya Island Air, Tipsy Tuna, I'm trying to think, the Big Creek Group, Toucan Inn. I mean, there's so many, and I wouldn't be in this position if it wasn't for the generosity of them.
Excellent. Well, Bella, thank you so much.
Thank
Isabella,
you.
right? It's Bella for short. Thank you so much for joining us on set this morning and for sharing your journey with us. And
Thank
we
you.
do wish you all the best moving
appreciate
forward.
that.
I'm sure this is not the last time we're going to hear from you. And
Definitely not.
All right, so with that, we're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we have more Open Your Eyes. That Kent product segment you heard about earlier is coming up next. Stay tuned.
My name is Christian Palma. I'm the owner of CRK Services, and I've been operating this business for 7 years in Big Falls, Toledo District. I use the Belize Bank online services because it's quite fast, reliable, and easy. Before I started to use the Belize Bank online services, I had to make a lot of trips into town, which cost me a lot, especially fuel. So the fact that I have to use my credit card every day, I can do an online instant payment and make my life easy. My customers can do payments towards me and it reaches in instant. It's fast, it's convenient for my business. I don't have to be up and down. I can do it anywhere I want. I would recommend you using the Belize Bank online services because for you, it will save you a lot of time.
Are you ready for KTV The Remix Season 7? The stage is set, the lights are on, and the voices are coming back stronger than ever. KTV The Remix Season 7 returns on July 1st, and it's going to be bigger, bolder, and more electrifying. New voices, new talent, fame, iconic showdown. Who will rise? Who will remix? Who will rule the stage? Tuesday, July 1st. The comeback begins! KTV, The Remix Season 7, where talent takes the mic.
This is where blue innovation meets green ambition and orange creativity thrives. Join us for the Belize Investment Summit 2025, September 3rd to 5th at the Sunset Carib in San Pedro. This is the future of regional integration, and it starts here. Whether you're returning home, expanding regionally, or entering new markets, Belize welcomes you. Why Belize? Why now? Belize Investment Summit 2025. Bridging markets, building resilience. September 3rd to 5th, Sunset Carib, San Pedro. Visit investmentsummit.bz to register and be part of shaping the investment frontier.
Hi there. Are you on your phone right now, scrolling on social media, listening to the radio, or watching TV? Have you ever stopped to think, what's powering my device right now? You see, electricity is essential for everyday life, powering our homes, businesses, transportation, and of course, that one binge-worthy series that you just can't stop watching. But how does it all work? This season on the What's and Why's of Energy, we're taking you behind the scenes, bringing you the latest updates and answers to your biggest energy questions. My name is Emmanuel Petch, and I invite you to join us as we go live on Facebook and get ready to see energy in a whole new light. Like, share, and follow us to be part of the conversation.
Belize Electricity Limited, providing you safe and reliable power when you need it.
In our world that's always changing, one thing stays the same.
Our promise as Smart Belize to keep you connected.
Connected to the moments, the people, and the future that matter most.
With every new tower, our service upgrades, and every new smile, we're keeping our promise in building more than a network.
We're building a future, a family as Smart Belize. From Punta Gorda to Corazza, we are here not just as a network, but as your partner in progress.
We have grown significantly over the past 20 years, and we just keep growing. Thank you for placing your trust in us. We remain dedicated to providing meaningful connections that bring value in every way that matters to you. We continue to bring people together.
Are you ready for KTV The Remix Season 7? The stage is set, the lights are on, and the voices are coming back stronger than ever. KTV The Remix Season 7 returns on July 1st, and it's going to be bigger, bolder, and more electrifying. New voices, new talent, fame, iconic showdown. Who will rise? Who will remix? Who will rule the stage? Tuesday, July 1st. The comeback begins! KTV, The Remix Season 7, where talent takes the mic.
And welcome back. Our final segment is an interactive segment which we'll close off our show with this morning. I have been joined in the kitchen by none other than Chef Paul Lopez. He'll try a thing with a series of Kent products that we have here in front of us, right? So we have cooking oil, we have brownie packs, we have cocoa cake, it's called, Paul.
Yeah, cocoa cake.
We also have waffle
cake.
mix. But the question is, what are you going to be preparing for breakfast this morning?
All right, so this one is simple, it's easy, based on the instructions, and let's hope it's really fast. This is the pancake mix. The good thing about this pancake mix is it's pretty much all your dry ingredients are here, and it's only the wet ingredients, if you would, right? This is the Kent pancake mix. The first thing and I'm following the instruction because I've never used this before, so we'll see how simple it is. The first thing it's telling me to do is to put 1 glass of milk and 1 egg into a pan and to mix this in with the large in the bowl, right?
So tell you what, I'll read the instructions to you.
Okay, it's
and
right.
And then you can proceed and.
It's right there.
All
That's
right.
that one. So
good.
It says start with milk, right?
Yes. All right. So put 1 glass of milk, which is 200 milliliters. All right.
It's on the cup. Yeah, it's on 1 cup.
You'll also need an egg.
So a cup of milk. This have evaporated milk. Hopefully it's not too concentrated.
You'll need 1 egg.
1 egg.
And 130 grams of pancake mix.
That's our one. That's the same amount right there. One egg. You know,
so now my question while you're doing that, Paul, you make pancakes at home?
I do actually. I make pancakes from scratch. Sabrina and I had a pancake challenge and I won.
Okay.
Right here on set.
So this should be light work, man.
Well, yes, because everything is there, so you don't have to. So I need this.
Okay.
Everything is there, so you really.
And you know
don't
the
need
beauty of this segment, Paul? Because I don't know a pancake man, so I wouldn't even know where to begin from.
Okay, there you go. Well, this is pretty easy. This is.
All right, so 130 grams is the equivalent of 1 cup.
Yeah, or it is the equivalent of what's there, 130 grams.
There we go.
Right, so it's
Brilliant.
it actually tells you 130 grams, but it's on there as 130 grams. So they give you just enough. And then usually I would use a fork. I don't have a fork here, so I have to use the fancy thing here, right? The fancy thing.
You have to whisk it now.
Right, so you whisk it. But then with the whisk, if you do it too rough, it might spill over. So I make sure this hot. And then
so now my question, right? And you'll forgive my lack of knowledge.
No, go
here.
ahead.
Do we just put the mix when it's ready onto the frying pan? There's no oil or nothing?
Wait, we have to oil a frying pan there because that one there, there's no one non-stick frying pan, right?
It looks very dry.
If you have a non-stick frying pan or sort of skillet, or in a Creole we say comal, one non-stick comal, because there are those, then you could just put it on. So with this, maybe we use some of the olive oil. I've never.
Let me help you with that part. This is my humble contribution to breakfast this morning, right?
Correct. So one of the things you'll notice here is that with the ingredients and instructions given, you have the exact consistency that you would want for a pancake, right?
Yeah.
Which is a there's a thickness to it, but it's not so thick that it doesn't drain off when you lift it up like that, right? So we're only going to attempt to make one. The instruction says that it's 5 minutes on each side usually. And they still want to leave it to run it for my liking, but maybe it's just the type of milk I use and the amount I use, so you could kind of go lighter on the milk. But the instruction says that it would be 5 minutes on each side. Usually pancakes doesn't take that long, but perhaps it's the temperature, the heat that they're recommending. Me, I like turn up the thing hot as possible. But
don't you run the risk of burning it on the outside?
Well, if you keep it thin, then it's harder to burn. If you want a thick pancake, then I could say you slow it down, right?
Okay, so then again, pardon my ignorance, right?
No, go ahead.
So what do you eat the pancake with?
All right, so you eat pancake with egg, you eat pancake, you got fancy people who want to eat their pancake with blueberries, with berries like my wife, she wants to sit down and eat pancake with berries and fruits on top, some syrup. Me, I want ham, I want egg, I want bacon. That's the type of thing I want pancake. That's like one fancy substitute for tortilla or fried jack, right?
I don't know if it's fancier substituting tortillas.
It is. In my opinion,
is a
classic
staple in the kitchen.
All right, so I was told quickly while that is happening, to make some whipped cream.
All right.
Right, and this is another product real quickly. Read the instruction there for me, because see what we got there.
It says here how to prepare. So you're going to pour 1 glass as 200 ml of refrigerated milk.
All right, some more milk.
Right.
Okay.
Or 150 milliliters of refrigerated water.
Now we're going milk
into a mixer cup.
I don't know what that mixer cup. I'll pour it in our bowl. All right, good.
We're improvising as we go along. No, we're make sure not burn the pancake though.
Yeah, no,
right?
No, that's not burn.
And so you're going to take 1 bag.
Yeah, see, it's when they make sure things happen, man. It really, the pan kind of bend up, but who not bend up pan in the kitchen, right? So you kind of pull aside.
Real Creole kitchen, right?
Real Creole kitchen.
All right, so Paul, so we're gonna take 1 bag of Kent Boringer whipped cream.
Right, this right there.
We're gonna beat with a mixer for 3 minutes until it gets consistent.
All right.
Right?
Oh, that's it? Milk and this and milk? Okay.
I'm reading verbatim, so you can ask me that. That's it. What you see is what you get, or what you hear is what you get, right?
What you get is what you'll get for real.
It says here, if more Consistency is required.
You add what?
Mix 150 milliliters of milk with 1 more bag of whipped cream.
Now, really, what you want to use the beta, the thing, but then because this now I whip it, but then we got one connection issues there, right? So we got one plug and that connected to the stove.
Yeah.
So we might. We test this product, yeah, but really you want a machine, because in my hand can't do what a machine could do. But yeah,
Alright, so here's the thing though, right? It says here, after a rest of 15 to 30 minutes in the refrigerator,
then
we don't have the time, we don't have the refrigerator.
Yeah, right. Then you get with cream, right?
Yes.
All right, good. So,
yes.
But yes, this basically shows you how easy it is to make the whipped cream. You just use milk and you use the powder and you do your mixing with something like this. Ideally, this is what you want to use, but if we plug that out, then we now got no pancake, right? Yeah, cake mixer as a mixer. Make we check with pancake can now. The instruction really says that it takes 5 minutes on each side, and I could see clearly it takes 5 minutes on each side, but again,
plus admittedly
the heat on this stove
top doesn't really look too hot.
Yeah, it doesn't look too hot. Maybe you want to touch it and find out. Okay, good, just checking. All right, but yeah, so we really have to wait, and unfortunately we don't have all the time to wait, but when you look at this, you could see that this is forming to be exactly what it needs to be. A really good pancake. The bubbles that you're seeing there is showing that it's letting out the air, which you want. You don't want your pancake to have all that bubbles. And then it's also showing that it's going to be a nice, thick, firm, soft pancake here, right? So I really like this. And how it's come out with the product and the simple instruction. I mean, even kids could make this in the kitchen. It's that simple. And then the whipped cream.
When my son reaches a certain age where I can trust him around his stove, then we'll try this together.
Right, and then with cream we have to work on that offset as well. But yeah, Ken product, really good. I'd recommend you all try it. Give it a try. Next time you go to the grocery store and you see a Ken pancake or waffle, we want it to
any of these products you see here on display, right? As I mentioned earlier, we have cooking oils, we have waffles, cake mix, even stationaries, right?
Correct.
We have exercise books for people who are planning their back to school already, right?
Exactly. Excellent.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Ken, for giving us the opportunity to highlight these wonderful products that we have on set. That does it for our show this morning, Isani. I just want to remind viewers that tonight is the audition night for KTV, the remix. What do we mean by audition night? No, they come in called audition. We held auditions, and so tonight we're airing those auditions, right? So first show, and right after that, we're going to have shows consistently throughout the next few weeks until we get to the finale and, of course, wrap up the show. So KTV The Remix Season 7 begins tonight.
What better way to kick off the summer, right?
Right? What better way to kick off the summer? But that does it for our show. If you have a birthday today, it's July 1st.
Yeah,
it's the first of the month. We want to say happy birthday to you. We're celebrating an anniversary. Whatever it is that you're celebrating, we want to say blessings to you, congratulations, and we do hope you enjoy the celebration. But if you have any birthday requests, comments, questions, concerns, you could always drop us an email at openyoureyes@channel5belize.com. You could also catch us live on Facebook every single weekday morning at Open Your Eyes BC. Or on Instagram for all the behind the scenes content at OYE Belize. There's even a phone number. You could text us at 675-2555. But again, that does it for our show today. Be sure to join us tomorrow when you open your eyes.
To start your morning right.
But until then, be sure to keep your eyes, your minds,
and your hearts open.
See you tomorrow, Belize. God bless. Have a wonderful day. Open Your Eyes is brought to you by the Belize Bank, our country, your bank, and SMART, bringing people together.